Hi, I'm Natalie and this is James, and welcome aboard our floating home Zephyr. Over the past 5 years, we've been on an incredible journey sailing around the world, accompanied by our two trusty dog crew members, Flint and Kira. Join us every Friday for a new video documenting our adventures. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the journey. For a walk? Yeah, I know.
So, what do we have here? Well, I have been waiting for this package now for a while. For those of you that might remember, our water maker has been having some trouble. We think it had something to do with the feed pump, and we also had a sensor. I also took the chance to get a few other components that I thought needed some changing while we were there. But yes, all the way from America, some very expensive water maker parts. So just to recap, we have a Spectra Ventura 150 water maker. Makes about 8 gallons an hour. It runs off our solar, it does not require a generator, and uses very little power. And on a boat our size, perfect. So, what happened was, all of a sudden, our water maker just stopped. The feed pump would, as soon as it would build up pressure, it would basically quit working. So, I think the feed pump's gone. Now, the feed pump looks like this. This is a feed pump. It's a pump and it's ridiculously expensive. This is a SureFlow feed pump sized correctly for our water maker. So I am going to install this. I additionally picked up a new pressure sensor. Let's have a look at this. So on either side of the 20 and 5 micron filters are 2 pressure sensors. This, you might recall if you go back way into our earlier episodes, went, I don't know, like 3.5 years ago. And I did a little thing where I reversed them. So I never knew exactly how much we were making, but the water maker still worked. But now when I change this, we'll know exactly how much we're producing, which is great. And then I just took the chance to get a new strainer. This is for the seawater intake. Ours was kind of getting on a bit. Our water maker's been in the boat since 2013. Flint's having some water. So you know, 11 years our water maker has worked pretty much flawlessly. So little things like this start to deteriorate. Time to replace it. Make sure we get good, clean seawater to our water maker. So that's it. That's what we ordered. Those 3 things: strainer, pressure sensor, new feed pump. So hopefully this is what solves our water maker issue. We're going to take these parts, we're going to install them. Let's get going.
Hello, so I just got back from the grocery store here in Marsh Harbour. It's Maxwell's. If you guys have been here, you will know it's a pretty well-stocked supermarket. You can pretty much find everything. But here's the kicker. Everything comes with an extra price tag here in the Bahamas, because obviously they're importing it all from the US. Okay, so sometimes there's no prices, so you kind of just go willy-nilly into it, not knowing what it's going to cost you. But I do have to show you this, because this has been kind of a little bit of a kicker when I got back and I saw this. So I bought 3 kiwis, no price. When I get to check out, it's $12 for 3 kiwis. And then the avocados, which are normally about $3.60 per avocado, have now gone up to $5 each. So I got 2 thinking there was going to be $3.60 each. No, they were $5 each. So here's the proof. There's the kiwis, $12, and there's the avocados, $10. And I mean, everything else is very expensive, like whole milk, a gallon costs you $7.30. Yogurt, that's about on par to the US, I think $5. Broccoli, $6. Everything else is kind of okay. Cereal's quite expensive here. Everything else was, you know, but I did think, wow, we spent 62 bucks when we came out with 2 small little grocery bags, and I thought that's a bit weird. And then when I checked, of course you always check when you get back, and that was my mistake. Normally I'm really good, but I just didn't even look. So yeah, so that there is $22 worth just there. I said to James, we better enjoy those kiwis, I'll tell you what, and those avos. And we're gonna have some lunch, and then it's a beautiful day here, absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Woo-wee. But yeah, so I'm gonna make some lunch right now and probably use up those avocados. There's 3 things I want to do today, and I'm hoping we get them all done. So one is go to the dock and fill up the jerry cans that we need filling. Make sure that's completely full, topped up with diesel as max as we can go. Number 2, which is finally putting in our high pressure pump for the water maker. Number 3 is give these guys a bath. They're starting to smell like dogs.
All right, so first step is I have to get everything out of this starboard aft locker. All the fenders, all the lines, there's so much stuff back there. Gotta get it all out so I can get access to the water maker. So as you can see, there's so much stuff that comes out of that starboard aft locker. We've got jerry cans, electrical cords, we got fenders, dock lines. There's so much more stuff in there too I haven't taken out. I have dozens of extra lines. What else in there? I got 2 spare anchors in there. We've got our 45-pound Delta and our big Fortress that saved us many times, you guys have seen. There's another 150 foot of chain and 150 feet of road as well. There's our old transom ladder. I don't know. Oh, another spare additional electrical cord. We've got other electrical cords. We've got spare oil containers for when we do oil changes. And then of course the water maker's in there. So, which is what we're gonna be doing now. We're going to get in there. As you can see, the pups are getting a shower. It's bath day for the puppos. So, anyways, I'm going to jump in here and have a look at what it is I need to do, what I need. I'm getting my tools out. So I've got my main tool chest, I've got the one with the socket set, we've got our parts in here, I've got my electrical stuff in here. So we've obviously got lots to do because this is both a part installation and there'll be some electrical connections we need to do. And I'm also changing that sensor, and I'm going to be putting in the new strainer where the seawater comes in. So we've got a few different things to do here. First up, I'm going to take some pictures of the way everything is so that you know, I don't make any mistakes putting it back, and I put it back in exactly the way it is now. So let's go do that. This is our water maker set up here. As you can see, I'm kind of like in this contorted position, but this is essentially the unit we're replacing. It looks a little different, but this is actually a sleeve that goes over the feed pump, okay, and it has a fan on the top. So this is a cooling fan for the pump, because when the water maker's running, it's running continuously, so it needs to be cooled, and that's what this unit on the top is. So this is going to happen in a number of processes. One, we're going to remove this cooling fan. We don't need to disconnect any of the wires, which is great. We're just going to remove it, hopefully, and it can just sort of sit off to the side, but you know, it's boat things. And then next we're going to disconnect the hoses for this feed pump, but of course we'll make sure we turn off the water. We'll have a little bucket here to catch any excess water. We'll disconnect these 2 hoses here. So that's the in, and that's the out. And then we'll obviously disconnect any of the wiring for this, and then we'll remove the pump and basically reverse that order. The next thing we're going to do is these two sensors here. We are changing out this sensor here. That's the bad sensor. So that's the one we're going to be changing over. And then we're actually going to reverse these two wires. As you can see, I have red on green and green on red. That was my little bypass. We'll swap those two sensors across, change out this bad sensor. Hopefully that is the issue, the pump. And then we'll change the strainer, and then we'll turn the water maker on. It's probably gonna have an airlock, so we'll have to try and bleed that airlock out and then go from there. But I've taken all my photos, so hopefully I get it back together the same way. So first steps first, let's start removing everything. We'll cue the time lapse. So I've unbolted this from here. I just have to disconnect this final hose here. I'm trying to be really conscious that I don't break the wires for this cooling fan. If that happens, whew, I don't even want to know what that's going to cost. All right, and there you go. There's the fan on the pump. Get rid of that connector there. We'll take this upstairs and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so as you can see, this is our old SureFlow pump. This is our new SureFlow pump. Now there's two things we have to do. One, we need to disconnect this fan from this wiring and add it to the new wiring, and we need to add some, obviously some connectors. The second thing we need to do is, you'll see these heads are orientated slightly different, and this is because of the way our alignment is with the hoses on the water maker. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this head, looks like we're going to turn it basically about 90 degrees this way. So that means we're going to have to unbolt it here and spin the head. Yeah, so let's get at it. So that's done. Now we're going to do the electrical connections here for this fan and the connectors here, so that for the power for this motor. So let's do that. All right, I've got my heat shrink kit here, because we want this to be perfectly waterproof. I put my two connections together, and I've just slid the heat shrink over these, and now I'm going to shrink them down. Now normally you use a heat gun. I don't have one, so I'm hoping I can do it with the flame nice and close. As you can see, we got nice heat shrunk connections. So that's perfect. Like I said, don't use flame. I don't have a heat gun, but I kept it away, worked perfect. So now we're gonna reinstall the pump back to where it was before. Then we'll get to work on the sensor. All right, so I've got the connections. So these connections are all back together now. I've mounted the pump on. I'm just putting the last, tightening up the wall bolts for this side, and then we're gonna put the heat shield and then the fan back on top here. all these hose connections, these are so important that you have those done right, because this system's under a lot of pressure, and that's where you'll get your leaks, and then that's where you're gonna get issues. So anyways, we're gonna get this next hose on and then finish the fan. Nice. You don't want that to be rattling at all, because there's a lot of vibrations in this system. So if that's not on tight, no bueno. Well, there you go, guys. That's the installation of the new feed pump that you can see here. Not overly complicated, a little bit finicky, but it went in exactly as I was hoping it would. I had to undo a few extra things, but no problem. A few electrical connections. We're all good. I'm just gonna tidy up this black wire here. I'm gonna put a little zap strap, or zip tie as you guys call it. And then we're gonna change this sensor. We'll do the strainer, and I think we're good to go. Let's just hope that this is the issue that I thought was the issue. And if it's not, then we have larger issues with the actual Clark pump and the main water maker, which will really suck and be really expensive. Not that this was cheap. This feed pump was like almost $400. This sensor I've just ordered, this one sensor, it's the size of a spark plug, $175 plus taxes. And that's not counting anything to bring it into the Bahamas. So yeah, Spectra water maker stuff is expensive, but I gotta say, it's been super reliable. 11 years. This is the first time I've had any issues. So let's just hope, you know, like I said, what we're changing is the culprit of our issues. Anyways, gonna grab the sensor and we're gonna install it. And that's it. So that's the new sensor there. As you can see, we put some Teflon tape on there so it doesn't leak. I decided to take this one out and clean the sensor as well, so we're all back up and running. New fan and everything is running. We'll do a quick power test here. We're not gonna actually run the system, just a manual. That's a good sign. The other pump wouldn't even do that. All right. Let's get everything open. I haven't put the strainer in yet, but I'm too excited not to test it. So, because the strainer means removing all of the bed. So I'm too excited to try the water maker here. We're gonna have to purge a lot of air out of the system. So I'm gonna get Nat and we're gonna do it together. All right, so I've got Nat inside. This requires 2 people because I wanna monitor the system here. She's gonna start a freshwater flush for me because we're gonna try and get some water through the system. Get it all primed up. I need to actually get access to my pressure relief valve here. And I'm gonna watch for leaks and that kind of thing. Okay, so stand by. Okay, so this is our pressure relief valve here, okay? This is what we're gonna use to help purge the air out of the system. Okay, Nat, we're gonna go for a freshwater flush.
Okay, ready?
Start it. That is a good sign. That thing is running. Sounds like the air is getting out of it. We got a drip there. See, we got a drip, so we need to fix that. Okay, stop. Okay, so we'll just tackle that small leak. I got one small drip, I'm just gonna stop.
Okay.
All right, so we'll stop this quick drip. I'm not gonna video this, I just wanna get it done. All right, I've tightened that, let's try again. Okay, Nat, start it up again. All right, we're gonna increase the pressure now. All right, stop the flush. Okay, now we're gonna try running it properly. So we're gonna do auto run. We're only gonna run it for like a minute, but we're gonna press 1 hour to start, and we're gonna see if we build up pressure. Well, okay, Nat, go for it. So what's happening now is it's gonna prime for about 10 or 15 seconds, and then we should hear the Clark pump here start clicking over, and it should start producing water. And that'll give me the okay if that's correct. Release some pressure here, get some air out of it. There we go. The water maker works. Pump works, the Clark pump works. Everything's working.
Okay.
We're working.
Okay, I'll believe it when I see it outside.
She'll believe it when we see it, but I guarantee you that water maker is back in action. If you'd like to be a part of the journey and become a patron, go to the link you see here on the screen. Another way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button.